The Monkeemobile started life as a 1966 Pontiac GTO convertible before becoming one of television's wildest rides. Dean Jeffries completed the entire custom build in just 4 weeks, and the car's drag-style parachute was installed purely as a visual gag with no actual function. But why did Pontiac executives try to distance themselves from their own creation? How did this iconic TV car end up abandoned in Puerto Rico painted pink? And what made the toy version outsell the real Pontiac GTOs by millions? These are 20 weird facts about the Monkeemobile that will blow your mind. Number 20, the 4-week wonder. Dean Jeffries had an impossible deadline when he got the call to build the Monkeemobile. The producers of the Monkees needed a car that would match the show's zany energy, and they needed it fast, really fast. Jeffries and his team worked around the clock, pulling 20-hour days to transform 2 brand new 1966 Pontiac GTO convertibles into the wildest rides on television. The pressure was insane. They had to design, fabricate, and install dozens of custom parts while making sure the cars could actually drive and handle the abuse of TV production. Most custom builds of this complexity take 6 months minimum. Jeffries did it in 4 weeks. The main car was for close-up filming, while the second served as a backup and promotional vehicle. Both cars had to be identical, doubling the workload. Despite the crazy timeline, Jeffries delivered both Monkeemobiles on schedule, creating one of the most recognizable cars in entertainment history. Number 19, the Supercharger Switcheroo. The original Monkeemobile featured a genuine GMC 6-71 supercharger sticking through the hood, and yes, it actually worked. This wasn't just for show, the blower added serious power to the already potent 389 cubic inch V8. But there was a problem. The functioning supercharger made the car incredibly difficult to drive for the show's filming needs. It was too powerful for precise maneuvering during chase scenes and parking shots. The actors, who weren't professional drivers, struggled with the touchy throttle response. After several near misses on set, the producers made a practical decision. They yanked the real supercharger and replaced it with a non-functional dummy unit that looked identical, didn't add any power. The fake blower kept the car's aggressive appearance while making it manageable for everyday filming. Ironically, the downgraded Monkeemobile performed better for its intended purpose, looking fast while being safe enough for actors to drive. Number 18, the Wheelie Machine. Those spectacular wheelies the Monkeemobile pulled weren't movie magic, they were engineered into the car from day one. Dean Jeffries solid-mounted the rear axle, eliminating the suspension's ability to absorb torque. This modification transferred all the engine's twisting force directly to the chassis, but that wasn't enough. To get the front end airborne reliably, Jeffries added hundreds of pounds of lead weights to the trunk area. The combination of rigid rear suspension and rear weight bias meant even moderate acceleration would lift the nose. The wheelie capability wasn't just for show-off moments, it became a signature move that appeared in multiple episodes, always getting huge reactions from the studio audience. The modifications made the car terrible for actual driving. The ride was bone-jarringly harsh, and the handling was sketchy at best. But, for those few seconds of front wheels up glory, it was perfect. Number 17, the split personality windshield. Look closely at the Monkeemobile's windshield and you'll notice something bizarre. It's actually 2 separate pieces of glass. Dean Jeffries took a standard GTO windshield and cut it right down the middle. Then, in a move that would make safety inspectors cringe, he angled both halves forward and outward. The split created a dramatic V shape that matched the car's wild aesthetic. This wasn't just about looks, though Jeffries claimed it improved forward visibility for filming. The real challenge was making it weatherproof. Custom rubber seals had to be fabricated to prevent water from pouring in where the 2 pieces met. The angled glass also created massive wind buffeting at highway speeds, making conversation impossible. But on camera, it looked absolutely incredible, giving the Monkeemobile an aggressive, almost sinister face that perfectly matched its outrageous personality. Number 16, the touring top that wasn't. That distinctive roof wasn't made of canvas or vinyl like a traditional convertible top. Dean Jeffries constructed a full steel tube framework, creating what looked like a 1920s touring car top. The framework was then covered in specially tailored burgundy vinyl that was stretched drum tight. The design served multiple purposes. It gave the car a unique profile that stood out even in wide shots. The rigid structure also provided mounting points for cameras and lights during filming. But here's the weird part. Despite looking like it might fold down, the top was completely fixed in place. The steel framework was welded to the body. If you wanted open-air driving, you were out of luck. The burgundy color was specifically chosen to contrast with the car's bright red paint, creating a two-tone effect that popped on television screens. The vinyl had to be replaced several times during production due to California sun damage. Number 15. The third row nobody expected. When most people modify a car's trunk, they add speakers or hydraulics. Dean Jeffries added passengers. The entire trunk area of the Monkeemobile was converted into a genuine third-row bench seat, bringing total capacity to 7 people. This wasn't some uncomfortable emergency seat either. Jeffries installed proper cushions and upholstery matching the interior. The engineering was surprisingly complex. The fuel tank had to be relocated and protected. The spare tire, gone. Storage space? What storage space? The trunk seat became a favorite spot during promotional appearances, with lucky fans getting rides in the most unusual seat in show business. Safety wasn't exactly a priority in 1966. There were no seatbelts back there, and passengers' heads stuck up above the bodywork. Several episodes featured all 4 monkeys plus guests crammed into the car, with the trunk riders bouncing around during chase scenes. OSHA would have had a field day. Number 14, the drag chute deception. That professional-looking drag racing parachute mounted on the Monkeemobile's rear end, complete fake. The chute was a genuine deist safety unit, the same type used on real drag cars. It looked absolutely legitimate, complete with a release cable running to the dashboard. But Dean Jeffries never connected it to anything. No deployment mechanism, no way to actually use it. The parachute was purely visual, added because it looked cool and suggested the car was so fast it needed aerospace-grade stopping power. The prop department loved it because they could shoot close-ups of Mickey Dolenz reaching for the release handle during chase scenes, adding drama without any actual danger. Ironically, considering how terrible the car's brakes were after all the modifications, a real parachute might have been useful. The fake chute stayed with the car through all its adventures, fooling thousands of fans who assumed it was functional. Number 13, the side pipe Symphony. Those exhaust pipes exiting just behind the front wheels weren't just for show, they were fully functional and incredibly loud. Dean Jeffries routed the exhaust through custom headers that dumped right at the front fender wells. No mufflers, no catalytic converters, just pure unfiltered Pontiac V8 thunder. The placement was strategic, side pipes looked aggressive and race-inspired, perfect for the Monkeemobile's image. But they created problems on set. The noise was deafening, making dialogue recording impossible when the car was running. The heat from the pipes also created a hazard. Several crew members burned themselves, and the chrome tips had to be wrapped with heat shields during filming. The pipes shot flames on deceleration, which looked fantastic on camera but terrified more than a few pedestrians. California noise regulations should have made the car illegal, but apparently, nobody wanted to be the cop who ticketed the Monkeemobile. Number 12, the Fender Bender Revolution. The Monkeemobile's rear fenders weren't just modified, they were completely reimagined. Dean Jeffries extended them dramatically, creating an exaggerated, almost cartoon-like profile. The stock GTO taillights were deemed too boring, so Jeffries fabricated custom units using parts from multiple vehicles. The final design incorporated sequential turn signals, a high-tech feature for 1966. But the real innovation was hidden inside the fenders. Jeffries installed air scoops that appeared to cool the rear brakes, but actually did nothing. They were purely cosmetic, like so much of the car. The extended fenders required custom inner wheel wells and modified suspension components to prevent rubbing. The bodywork was all hand-formed steel, not fiberglass as many assumed. This made repairs expensive and difficult when inevitable parking lot dings occurred. The exaggerated fenders became one of the car's most copied features, inspiring countless custom car builders. Number 11, the Executive Embarrassment. Pontiac provided the GTO donor cars and initially loved the publicity, then they saw the finished product. Corporate executives were horrified by what Dean Jeffries had done to their muscle car. The wild modifications, the cartoon-like appearance, the complete departure from GTO tradition, it was all too much. Internal memos reveal Pontiac considered demanding the removal of all GTO badges. They worried the Monkeemobile would damage their performance image. Some executives pushed to distance the brand from the TV show entirely, but the marketing department had data that silenced the critics. Pontiac dealerships reported huge increases in youth traffic, all asking about the Monkey's car. GTO sales spiked in markets where the show was popular. The controversy continued throughout the show's run, with Pontiac simultaneously embarrassed by and grateful for the Monkeemobile's impact. They never officially endorsed the modifications, but couldn't deny the revenue boost. Number 10, the Australian Adventure. After the Monkees ended, the main Monkeemobile didn't retire to a museum. Instead, it was crated up and shipped to Australia for a promotional tour in 1968. The car spent months traveling between cities, appearing at shopping centers and car shows. Australians went absolutely crazy for it. The tour was supposed to last 6 weeks, but extended to 4 months due to demand. Then things got weird. The Australian promoter went bankrupt, and the Monkeemobile was seized by creditors. It sat in a Sydney warehouse for nearly a year while lawyers fought over ownership. Eventually, an American buyer rescued it, but shipping costs had tripled. The car spent another 6 months in customs disputes. By the time the Monkeemobile finally returned to America, it had traveled over 50,000 miles and needed a complete restoration. The Australian adventure added to the car's legend, but nearly destroyed it in the process. Number 9, the Puerto Rican pink period. Here's where the Monkeemobile story gets truly bizarre. In the 1970s, the car somehow ended up in Puerto Rico, repainted bright pink, and used as a hotel courtesy car. Nobody knows exactly how it got there or who authorized the color change. Guests at the San Juan Hotel could request rides in what was left of TV history. The car was in terrible shape. The custom interior was replaced with standard seats. The supercharger was long gone. The side pipes were plugged with steel wool to quiet them down. Hotel staff had no idea of the car's significance, treating it like any other old vehicle. It suffered years of abuse, salt air corrosion, and neglect. The pink paint was brushed on over the original red, creating a thick, ugly coating. By the time the car was rediscovered in the late 1980s, it was barely recognizable. The Puerto Rican chapter remains the strangest in the Monkeemobile's strange history. Number 8, the $5,000 steal. In 1992, the US government held an auction of seized and abandoned vehicles in Puerto Rico. Lot 47 was listed as 1966 Pontiac, custom, condition, unknown. The winning bid, $5,000. The buyer had no idea what he'd purchased until he started scraping off layers of pink house paint. Underneath, he found traces of the original lipstick red and realized he owned the fucking Monkeemobile. The discovery made national news. Suddenly, everyone wanted to buy the car. Offers poured in from collectors, museums, and TV nostalgia buffs. The buyer wisely held on to it, spending 2 years on a basic restoration. When he finally sold it in 1994, the price was rumored to be over $125,000. The government auction clerk who wrote "condition unknown" on the paperwork probably should have looked a little closer. $5,000 for one of television's most iconic cars stands as one of the great auction house blunders. Number 7, the model kit monster. While the real Monkeemobile was unique, the MPC model kit version invaded millions of homes. Released in 1967, the 125 scale kit became one of the best-selling car models ever. MPC produced over 7 million units across multiple releases. The kit was remarkably detailed, including the split windshield, side pipes, and even the non-functional drag chute. It came with a sheet of custom decals and 4 tiny Monkees figures. But here's the insane part. The model kit outsold actual Pontiac GTO production by a factor of 10. More kids built Monkeemobiles than Pontiac built real GTOs. The kit has been reissued dozens of times and remains popular with collectors. Original 1967 versions in unopened boxes sell for hundreds of dollars. Several kit builders have created full-size replicas based solely on the model instructions, reverse engineering Dean Jeffries' work from toy plastic. Number 6, the funny car that never was. Dean Jeffries actually designed a drag racing funny car version of the Monkeemobile that would have been absolutely mental. The plans called for a tube chassis, fiberglass flip-top body, and a blown 4i27 big block. This wasn't a promotional idea. Jeffries wanted to actually race it. Detailed blueprints were drawn up. A chassis builder was contacted. The plan was to tour drag strips between TV seasons, racing other celebrity cars. The Monkees themselves were reportedly excited about the idea, then reality intervened. Insurance costs would have been astronomical. The show's producers worried about associating the Monkees with dangerous motorsports. Pontiac definitely wasn't interested in sponsoring such a wild project. The funny car Monkeemobile remained on paper, but the drawings still exist in Jeffries' archives. Hot Rod magazines have published the design several times, and at least one builder claims to be working on bringing the concept to life. Number 5, the Lowrider Incident. In 1997, VH1 produced a Monkees reunion special and decided the Monkeemobile needed updating for the 90s. Their solution? Turn it into a lowrider. Hydraulics were installed, the suspension was cut, wire wheels replaced the original mags. The car was fitted with a booming sound system. The paint was augmented with pinstriping and pearl effects. The Monkees themselves were reportedly horrified. This wasn't an update when it was sacrilege. Fan outcry was immediate and harsh. The lowrider Monkeemobile appeared in exactly one segment of the reunion show before vanishing. Within months, the car was quietly restored to its original configuration. The hydraulics were removed, original-style wheels reinstalled, and the extra paint effects buffed out. VH1 never officially acknowledged the modification disaster. The Lowrider parts were supposedly destroyed to prevent anyone from reversing the restoration. It remains the most controversial chapter in Monkeemobile history. Number 4. The engine nobody talks about. Everyone focuses on the wild bodywork, but the Monkeemobile's engine had its own secrets. The 389 cubic inch V8 wasn't stock. Dean Jeffries had it blueprinted and balanced, adding a hotter camshaft and heavy-duty valve springs. The compression was bumped up significantly. With the functional supercharger in early configuration, the engine made close to 500 horsepower. But here's what's weird, there's no dyno data. Jeffries never officially tested the engine's output. The only performance numbers come from magazine estimates and butt dyno measurements. After the supercharger was replaced with a dummy, the engine was detuned for reliability. The wild cam was swapped for something milder, compression was lowered. The final on-screen version probably made around 350 horsepower. Still respectable, but nowhere near its original potential. The engine's true capabilities remain one of the Monkeemobile's enduring mysteries. Number 3. The weight distribution disaster. All those modifications turned the Monkeemobile into a handling nightmare. The lead weights in the trunk, necessary for wheelies, destroyed the car's balance. Weight distribution was approximately 35-65 front to rear, the opposite of ideal. Jeffries tried to compensate with suspension modifications, but physics won. The car pushed horribly in corners, the front end washing out at even moderate speeds. Brake dive was extreme because there was so little weight on the nose. The solid-mounted rear axle made things worse, causing the car to hop sideways over bumps. Professional drivers who tested the car universally hated it. One described it as like driving a shopping cart with a V8. The Monkees themselves were never allowed to drive it at speed. All the chase scenes were filmed at 25 mph or less, then sped up in editing. The car looked fast but was genuinely dangerous above parking lot speeds. Number 2. The lost second car mystery. Everyone knows about the 2 original Monkeemobiles, but their fates diverged dramatically. While car number 1 had its adventures in Australia and Puerto Rico, car number 2 vanished. It was last officially seen at a 1968 auto show in Detroit, then nothing. For decades, rumors circulated. Some said it was crushed, others claimed a collector had it hidden. In 2019, a barn find in Michigan made headlines. Could this be the missing Monkeemobile? Experts examined the car and found evidence of the correct modifications. The VN checked out. Paint analysis revealed traces of the original color under multiple repaints, but crucial parts were missing. The split windshield was gone, replaced with a standard piece. The custom rear fenders had been cut off. Without definitive proof, the car's identity remains disputed. If it is car number 2, it needs a complete restoration. If it's a replica, it's an incredibly detailed one. The mystery continues. Number 1. The creator's biggest regret. And before our final revelation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos and leave a comment if you knew any of these wild Monkeemobile facts. Dean Jeffries built some of entertainment's most famous vehicles, from the Green Hornet's Black Beauty to the Moon Buggy in Diamonds Are Forever. But in later interviews, he expressed genuine regret about the Monkeemobile. It wasn't the car itself he regretted, but the business deal. Jeffries built both Monkeemobiles for a flat fee of $18,000. No royalties, no percentage of merchandising, no ongoing payments, just $18,000 for 4 weeks of round-the-clock work, and 2 of the most recognizable custom cars ever created. Meanwhile, the MPC model kit alone generated millions in revenue. The TV show merchandising was worth tens of millions. Jeffries estimated he missed out on at least 500,000 years in potential royalties from the 1960s alone. By modern values, that's several $1,000,000. He spent years fighting for retroactive compensation, but never received a penny beyond the original payment. The man who created an icon was paid less than a typical car salesman's annual salary. Jeffries continued building custom cars until his death in 2013, but friends say the Monkeemobile deal haunted him. He'd created something beloved by millions, something that defined an era of television, something that still draws crowds 50 years later. And all he got was 18 grand. The Monkeemobile made everyone rich except the genius who built it.